All right, I'm doing a recording right now, and I'm in a discussion with both Furkan and Brian. Okay, these are my two disciples, and we're gonna learn and we're gonna talk about this idea of how to build AI agents correctly. Okay, so what are my qualifications to speak about this? So I guess I've been painfully paying for the very expensive process of integrating AI agents for the past 2 years, right, into workflows with blood, sweat, and that valuable capitalistic thing called money too as well. So Brian, let's get you to understand why you're doing what you're doing. Okay, this is the why. Okay, um, what is the most common mistake you think that people have in developing AI agents? A
It's slow,
what?
slow response.
Speed. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe for your case, okay, yes. Your case, your speed might be impaired because there's, let's say, limited experience, okay, or limited ability to test.
No.
Okay.
Like the response is like it's slow. It's not like real time. Hey, I want this, and
Oh,
then you get that. Get.
no, no, okay, all right. AI agents are generally faster than real people, I've noticed,
Okay.
yeah? So it's not the most common mistake in developing AI agents. Okay, one more guess and then we'll give it to Furkan. All right, go ahead and do another guess, Brian. This is like a podcast. All right, just throw a guess out there and we'll see, okay?
It's hard to tell the. No. It's not.
Okay, time out. Okay, over to Furkan. Furkan, what do you think it is? What's the most common mistake that we've encountered developing AI agents?
Common mistake. I think the first back into the product user bit, understanding that is this agent solves people problem as same as the other parts of entrepreneurship. If you like to develop, make sure that it is needed.
Okay, um, not quite. Okay, and I'll say this: product user fit is probably a problem if you have pre-customers. Okay, if your AI agent is being created, let's say, like Brian and Duff are experiencing this problem right now. They don't have any customers. Okay, so they have a product user fit problem. We, for Con, fortunately, do not have that problem. We have the luxury of not having
Yes.
that problem because we already have product user fit because we already have customers, okay? So post customers, okay? Your
Uh,
okay, your direction is somewhat right, but let's get this fixed up a little bit, okay? It's not so much the product user fit, it's the job person role fit.
oh,
Okay, the most common critical mistake is that you are producing an agent that cannot really do the job, or you don't really know what the job is, or some other thing. Okay, the reason why, Brian, it's hard to actually develop an AI agent is it's kind of like this, right? Imagine you ask people to, here's a good example. Jarum Factory. I think I went to the Jarum Factory once upon a time, and there's like a million ladies over there rolling cigarettes like this, right?
yeah.
Okay. So when you delegate a job to a human, okay, and you say, "Look, human, roll a cigarette," okay, the human learns how to roll a cigarette a certain way. They use their eyes, they observe another human, and then they learn how to roll a cigarette, okay? If you're going to have a cigarette rolling machine, you potentially can do industrial scale, right? So let's say you have an industrial cigarette rolling machine. I know that's not something we want to really indulge in, but let's say you develop this, okay? So now you have a cigarette rolling machine, okay? Now, both of these can get the job done, right? Which is you need the cigarette to be rolled, okay? But one way you have to really understand how the machine works to do it. The other way you understand how the human does it to work it, okay? So the biggest problem I see is generally when the AI engineer tries to make the cigarette rolling machine, they don't really understand, or this is the problem for Con. When the person who's used to operating a factory of people rolling a thing,
Oh, I see.
and they want to get this, they don't understand, right? Because the machine doesn't work the same way as the humans do, okay? And it's not like you can just talk and you know, whatever. So that becomes a difficult thing. So what you need to do is with people, you have a process, okay? People, you have a process, and the process is like this, okay? This is like a master class on building AI agents. Okay, people you need to hire, you need to train, and then you need to incentivize, okay? This is generally how you get a job done using a person, okay? With an AI, you kind of need to do this, okay? You need to understand the job. You need to understand the job. You need to write the job, and then you need to test if the agent is doing the job, okay? So the thing with leading people is that people can kind of understand how to do the job just through their own brains, okay? An AI agent doesn't really know how to understand the job. They require you as a designer, as the AI engineer, to understand the job. So you need to understand, all right, if I'm rolling cigarettes, what is my input into the machine? Okay, it's probably filters, paper, tobacco, all these things, okay? Well, a human, you could just say, now watch. I'm going to take this, I'm going to roll the cigarette. But with an AI agent, you have to literally tell it, take and roll the cigarette. You know, you have to give it instructions on pick up the paper, roll it into this, and then do this, okay? You have to understand each and every task. The benefit is that once you understand each and every task, then each and every task will be done reliably each time. You don't need to incentivize the AI agent, okay? Because the AI agent just always does what it does as long as you pay for electricity, okay? So that's the major misconception I see with a lot of people doing work in AI, okay? And it's they don't understand how to create the job person role fit. Okay, now the second thing is this, okay? So we're talking about post-customer world. We're not talking about pre-customer world, Brian. So the pre-customer world in AI is very difficult because you have no people to test against your AI with, okay? And you have no data then to do it. So we're going to give you a once-in-a-lifetime golden opportunity here, okay, to solve your own AI problems, solve our problems, and now you're going to be lucky, okay? So would you ever put code into production without testing?
Depends.
Okay,
It depends the situation.
okay,
So when you have probably like yours, you're not going to push the AI agent to the customer directly. Probably you need some step before the agent use. And in my in Archive, it's not like that. You just fucking push it to production.
Oh yeah. Okay,
Customer
if you
relationship
have post customer, yeah.
If you want food, there's
Okay,
Yeah, I mean,
if you have post customers,
but
does that sound like a good idea?
okay.
Pre-customers, who cares, right? You don't have any customers, so anything you push out doesn't have any impact. But let's say you're Amazon, okay, or Microsoft, or you're Google, and you don't test your code, you just push it out, and what would happen?
There is unexpected occasion. There is some probably.
I'll tell you what happens. I'll skip. Okay, this is what happened. You get fired. Okay, pretty much that's it. It's so irresponsible to do that because you are risking the entire money of the entire company when you do that. Okay, especially if it is a fairly large company, okay? You have to understand that most companies, okay, like Google, like whatever, they operate as software as a service, okay? So if your service in an attempt to make it better breaks, everyone stops paying you, okay? And you will lose billions of dollars and perhaps even more from making a very fundamental business mistake, okay? It's very, very, very irresponsible, and yeah, that's the worst thing that can happen, okay? So you should always test code before you put it into production, okay? Now that we understand that, okay, so that's code. What about people? Should we put people to do jobs that are very important before we've tested them? Okay, Furkan, what do you think? Should we put people to do jobs before we've tested them out?
People to do the job, do you mean to do simulation?
No, should we have people doing very important jobs before we've tested them out, before we've understood what they're capable and incapable of doing? Generally speaking, okay, this is a dilemma. The real situation is it's not so simple, okay? So the real situation is there is a dilemma, okay, and it's sometimes, all right? Sometimes if you want to innovate, you do need to get actual experience, all right? There's no other way to do it, but generally you do want to do this carefully, okay? And the balance is you want to innovate, but not disrupt yourself, okay? Now, if you put new interns in charge of being the president of, sales, okay? If you put a new intern in charge of being the chief of technology, that's probably a really bad decision, okay? But if, let's say, the new intern has proven to be very, very clever in every stage leading up to that role, then that would seem like it could be a good decision, okay? All right, so that's what we're getting to. Okay, so here's the simple idea, okay? The biggest, most common mistake that people make, that we make at Buca Vista, is we are always forced to put agents into production before they're finished. Okay, we always put agents into production before they're done. Now, Furkan, why do we do that? Why do we always put agents into production before we're done?
Because you are startups.
Because what? I asked Furkan, but okay. What?
You guys are startups.
Okay, that could be one of the reasons. Yeah, sure. Okay, but Furkan, why do we do that?
What is happening here? I just woke up.
Stop interrupting, dude. Catch up. Okay, Dafa, all right? All right, so what do you say, Furkan?
Faster feedback cycle?
Yes. Okay. The reason we do that is because we need to understand the job and give feedback quickly. Okay. But that's not ideal. Okay. That's not ideal because we are trading real customers, real patients, real whatever for that. Okay. So this is our dilemma, guys. Okay. The post-customer mistake is that we always have to put agents into production before they're done. And the reason we need to do that is because we need to understand the job and we need to get feedback quickly, okay? But here's the question. Is it possible, Dafa, Brian, to get feedback from code before you put it into production? How would you get feedback from your code before you put it into production? Let's go over to...
Alpha testing, beta testing.
Right, you get it. Okay, that's the idea, right? So, you see the idea.
So, you know what? I'm gonna let Brian answer, okay? I'm gonna shout out. Obsolete, man. Just generate like some situation that might be go, and we need to classify is this situation might be happen in customers.
Good. Excellent. So you're going to generate situations, right? You're going to create scenarios that might happen in real life, and you're going to test your code against that. Okay? Now let's go over to the next thing. Just like people, okay, so when we're talking about code, we do that. So for people, what we do is we create what? We create a simulation, right? We create a simulation for a person who is about to take a job against another person, okay? Let's say you're going to take a job being customer service. So then we're going to create a simulation of a customer. You talk to that customer, okay? For a person doing, let's say, a job with community management, okay? You're going to pretend to be the partner. I'll pretend to be the community manager, and we will talk about difficult situations, okay? And so on and so forth, all right? We'll do simulations. If we can do these simulations, okay, we can understand whether or not this particular person is correctly done, okay? So, you see here, we don't need to hire, okay? But before you hire a person, you should do what? You should interview. Better than interview. Better than interview. What should you do, Furqan? We don't do interviews because interviews create hallucinations, right? Just like with trials. Okay. So that's what we're doing. We are doing a trial by simulation, okay, of our agent against a counter agent in order to understand if that agent is qualified to do the job, okay? And the better your trial, right, Furqan, the better your yield of quality candidates, okay? The secret of Book of Vista is not in the actual how many people we can go out and notify we're giving jobs. I would say the secret of Book of Vista for Con has always been our trial program, right? We're able to link a lot of people into it, and then from that trial program, the best candidates will emerge, right? So the secret to actually being able to process an infinite number of candidates is not to go and, you know, it's a really well-tuned trial process, okay? Now you understand, right, Furqan? You see the analogy here. So the trial process with an AI agent is not the same as a trial process with a person, but it's the analogy. It's trial by simulation, whereas by hiring, it's trial by experience, okay? Okay, all right, now you're getting it. Now you're understanding. Okay, so if we want to hire new AI agents at scale, right, Furqan? It's the same thing that we did with the trial program. We need the trial program to be able to work at scale too, okay? And so in order to create a trial program for AI agents so that we can hire more AI agents to do everything, we need to design the trial program, okay? Which is effectively the simulation, which is effectively in coding, it's a testing framework to understand the situations that the candidate might go through, okay? All right, so now we understand. Now we understand a vision, okay? So what we're doing is we're building a framework in order to be able to massively create many AI agents, trial them, make sure they work before we put them into production, before they're given responsibilities, and that way we don't have these big surprises that, oh, you know, the agent fell asleep over the weekend and didn't answer any inquiries, okay? Or, oh, the agent talks like an idiot all the time, right? Because whatever, okay? So that's the idea. Okay, so this is where I'm getting to the vision now, okay? So basically what we need in order to form the trial is you need the counterparty, okay? You need a counter agent that you can put your agent to speak to, okay, such that it is giving kind of feedback to us, okay? Here's a very simple example, okay? I'll show you a dirt simple example, and then we will scale this up to something more sophisticated, okay? All right, Furqan. So what we're seeing right now is it's a message to Mr. Ketut Purnawiasa, okay? So Mr. Ketut Purnawiasa is one of our partners, all right, gentlemen? And so basically what we're going to do is this. We're just going to use this in Gemini, all right? You can use ChatGPT, Atlas. It really doesn't matter, all right? So we're just going to go over here, and we're going to send a message, and we're going to put it in here, okay? Oops. Okay. Let me see if I can move that in. Reap. Okay, let's see if I can put this inside. Oh, it's too bad. Okay, so I'm going to have to use a different tool. I'm going to use now the ChatGPT Atlas tool, okay? And over here, okay, I'm going to close that, and I'm going to open Miro, and I'm going to start over here. All right, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you a demo of how I would build a counter agent, okay? So the first thing you need to do is you need to know who is our person here, Mr. Kutut Purna Asa, okay? Kutut, let's see if we can find his name. Kutut Purna Asa, okay? See if he's on the internet somewhere. Ah, here he is. Is this him? Wow, that's pretty rich, yeah? Okay. Okay, let's say that's him, okay? Okay, let's pretend this is him, okay? I mean, how different could every Purnaviasa be, okay? All right, so we go, okay. And then what we want is we want to gather as much information about Mr. Kutut as possible to create an accurate archetype of him so that we may simulate, okay, community management messages to him, okay? So we're gonna let ChatGPT go out there and try to gather data, okay? This is just a sketch, gentlemen, okay? We have better data, we have better methods than doing this, but this is just to bring you through the ideology, okay? So we're gonna try and get this thing done. Okay, good. All right, so there we go. It's gathering the information, okay? And once it finishes, I'm going to ask it to become Mr. Kutut Purniwayasa, okay? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this message, okay? And I'm going to pass it to the AI now as Kutut Purniwayasa, okay? Now, imagine you are Kutut. How would you respond to this letter? Okay. All right. So we want this simulation to be realistic. Okay. Now here's the thing. You guys won't know Dafa. Okay. You guys won't know Brian because you've never dealt with people like Mr. Kutut Purnaviasa. But we will. Okay. So we are now not looking at what the partner is saying. We're looking at how well ChatGPT in this case is simulating what a partner is likely to say. Okay, so it's going through some deep research here. Okay, this is good. Okay, this is good. Oh my gosh. Okay. Whew. All right. Okay. 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 Oh wow. It's already getting wow. That's a lot of detail already. Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
20 years younger by shaving yourself, bro. You just got 20 years younger by
Oh,
shaving.
thank you. Okay. All right. Anyways,
Fucking younger, bro.
thank you. All right, pay attention, okay? So after this is done, okay, we ask, how would you respond to this letter? Realistic as possible. Realistic as possible. I know the answer already. Okay, because we do. He didn't respond to this, okay? So, anyways, all right. Ah, right. Okay, incorrect, okay? So the model is not working, guys, because that is not what he said, okay? And we know it doesn't work because it's a bad response, and we downgrade it, and we say it's not like the style, not factually correct, and Mr. Kutut doesn't read very well in English, okay? Well, in English and didn't respond. Change your model, okay? Okay, what we're doing is we're creating the counter agent. You guys see that? So we know from experience that's not what he said, okay? So now, okay. Okay, all right. Wrong again, okay? Because Mr. Kutut didn't read the message. Change your model to reflect more accurate Balinese habits, going into deeper psychology and give observability to why he didn't respond, okay? Okay, so we're building a more and more accurate model of Mr. Kutut, okay? And when we have a strong model of Mr. Kutut, we now have something to play our agent against, okay? So now our agent can use flashcards, can use other means of communicating different messages to Mr. Katut, okay? But our job is to investigate whether or not it is possible to build Mr. Katut, okay? Can we inhabit such that he now sees what we see, okay? And is realistic. All right, that's the idea. If we have a strong representation now of Mr. Katut that is accurate, that does not respond to text walls, that does say things that are kind of like, yeah, now it's like kind of true to what we've seen in history, then we have a good model, okay? We have a good simulation now. The simulation will be kind of like in real life, okay? So that means whatever we send to this model, okay, we will get a non-response because it'll say, well, I can't read that much English, or whatever, right? It will react. Even if it doesn't react, it'll tell us why it didn't react, okay? So that's basically the message, okay? So then what we do is we keep on generating different ideas along the entire spectrum of possible ways to communicate with Mr. Katut, right? We can create different cards, we can create different invitations, we create different designs until we arrive at a type of messaging where he responds, okay? Where he's able to go, yeah, I understand, I need to take action, okay? So that idea of generating all this stuff is pretty easy. We can keep on creating, okay? But the hard part is modeling the counterparty. If we can model the counterparty, then we will know this design works because it appeals to how they see the world, okay? All right, Delpha, I'm not sure if you guys are there. Yeah.
Something just went into my mind. Remember the moment where you tell us the attention is all you need paper?
Sure.
So I actually taken a look into the paper in one of my ESC.
Sure.
Then the AI works by updating edges or weight on something node, right?
Yeah.
On the context.
Yeah.
I think we can make some kind of new mechanism that instead of updating weights to understand more of the whole context, we can update the weights or edges to understand the traits of personalities that this person has, right?
How long would it take you to come up with a prototype for that idea?
I think it will take a long time.
Right, so it's not a good idea. Okay, so that sounds like a deep research idea. Our current hypothesis is that if you can come up with a reasonably useful model, okay, within an hour, okay, then this idea is worth pursuing, all right? Meaning that if you can take our data, conversation logs, whatever, okay, and what you're doing is simply this, okay? You're not going to reinvent the LLM. You're going to RAG this, but what you really need to start thinking about, gentlemen, is this, okay? You need to think about what is the bundle of data that fully represents the actual persona of this person, okay? Meaning that what is a complete data record that would actually give you a fair representation of this person. Let's go back to this concept again, okay, gentlemen? So whenever we work on innovation, let's not go too far away from what has been successful on an adjacent concept from before, okay? So if you're doing testing for code, okay, you're generating situations, right? Brian, those were your words. You're generating different situations and you're trying to figure out, okay, what are the likely situations that will stress this code out? It's similar here, okay? You're also generating situations, okay? But in engineering, you're generating utility cases, cases where the code fails, cases where functionality is destroyed. Here, you're generating social situations, okay? Meaning you are generating, does this person click on my button, okay? Does this person want to take action after I've shown them this particular warning? What's going on inside their own mind, all right? So this is the aspect of actually building a human, or building a simulated human, okay? So the only way that we can create this human is to ingest enough data about it, okay? We need to ingest interesting and pertinent data about what is this human's capability. We can put interesting factors in. Okay, so let's start brainstorming. Brian, what would you put in this data package? Let's say it's an object, okay? Like object-oriented programming, okay? What kind of information would you put into it such that the object is well fleshed out, is high resolution? Huh?
It's probably like job.
Okay, job?
Like
What else?
expensive.
Age? Education? Okay.
Okay, that's a lot of personal data.
Location of birth? Okay. Where else?
Location, IP address, devices.
Okay, device.
A lot of
Okay.
required.
What else? Ethnicity?
Location visited.
Sure. Religion, locations visited.
Oh, but that's a lot of information. Holy fuck, these are all okay.
What else? Conversation history.
Yeah, conversation history. That would
Okay.
be very useful.
Family structure, right?
Yeah.
And role.
Emotion.
Okay. Emotional history, right? Medical records even. Okay, you can keep on adding, okay? You can add social graph, okay? Village, okay, parental. Social graph is actually pretty interesting. You look at their friends and kind of figure out who they are, okay? Okay, social affiliations. Okay, stuff like that, okay? Okay, now here's the thing, all right? And this becomes, for Con, the whole aspect of data science, okay? The idea of data science is, are you able to recreate the entity by asking what all the data points are? Sometimes you can, okay? Sometimes by studying a person's past choices on what they enjoy watching on YouTube or what they like on Instagram, you can project what they're... We can probably use some of those ideas too to reconstruct this, okay? So that's it, all right? But here's where the work is, gentlemen. The work is in finding two things, okay? Number one is expanding the data set, and two, it's tuning or prioritizing.
Oh yeah, that is the most.
Okay?
Yeah, that takes a long time. The prioritizing part. You're distilling the.
Right. So you need to figure out what part of the data set is useful, what part of the data set is useless, okay? For example, maybe medical records are useless, right? And they take too much time to get. But perhaps a social graph is actually pretty simple because you can go on their Instagram and find out who their followers are, find out who they're following, and that might be a pretty good understanding of, you know, what kind of values that they have, okay? And how they see the world, all right? So these are what we are using at the moment to reconstitute a simulated person, okay? Now, why do we believe that this can be successful is because we did this. We were able to take my discussions and my videos and everything that I've been doing for Bali Business Review, okay? So we took all my videos, all the things we've been talking about, all this stuff, and we'll say, what does Jing think about ranking, okay? Sorry, that's really small. But it's pretty much me. I would say that that is a very accurate simulation of generally what I would say, okay? Let me pull this together. Okay, all right, we're up to 36 minutes now. This is a long movie now. Okay, wait. All right, so gentlemen, this is it. This is the first and only and last discussion about how AIs, where did I go? Okay, here we go, right? Okay, so that's pretty much it, okay? So basically, that's exactly what I say. That's exactly what I say each time. I talk about these things, and it's a pretty accurate simulation of how I talk, okay? In the domain of property management, in the domain of whatever I'm usually saying, okay? Not everything. It's not what I say about, this doesn't represent how I talk to my wife, this doesn't represent how I talk to Furkan, but this does represent fairly well how I talk to people about this particular concept, okay? Yes. Okay, so it is possible, and it's kind of proven to be possible now. So that's it. That's the mission, guys, okay? So here's what I want you to do, all right? I've explained it, I think, as well as I can, okay? I've used this graph, I've used this video. We'll stop the recording here, and we'll upload it, all right? You can put this recording into a Notebook LM now and ask that notebook questions about what we just talked about, okay? At any given point. So you don't need to talk to me. You can just talk to this video, okay, about what we had just talked about today, all right? Which means that you can reference this anytime you want to understand the mission better, okay? But I think it's pretty well explained. I think it's actually pretty fundamental, and it uses the same mindset as writing code, okay? In code, we create testing frameworks. To develop AI agents, we need, once again, simulation framework, okay? But how do we create a simulation? We need to create a counterparty because we don't think like the counterparty. So we need to recreate that counterparty by using available data that can, let's say, mold itself around the particular person's capabilities, okay? So we're going to give you some tools, okay? You can give them access to, I think, some of the ChatGPT's pros with like the access to the CRM, okay, into our customer relationship database, all right? So they've been asking for that for a while, and we can give them that access, okay? So basically, what you would... Sure, if you need access to that, then...
custom like the system prompt or like
Sure.
the tool.
You need to first try to understand what you would model a person with, okay? You need to brainstorm. You need to ask ChatGPT, how do I recreate a potential person, okay, using the most relevant data, okay? It probably will say, you need this, this, and this, and we'll say, we have that information, or we don't have that information, okay? And then you can build based on that. So it might say, you need conversational logs, you need whatever. Oh, yes, forgot.
Time is up, actually.
Okay, time is up. Time is up. Okay, so I'll stop the recording right there. Okay, so what? Oh, different one. Okay, here we go.